Did you know that the universe will die trillions upon trillions of years from now? And even then, the Browns will have never won a Super Bowl by then.
Welcome to the Jungle, Bengals fans. I'm Kyle Phelps, and the Bengals and Browns might be resting their starters this week, but we don't rest our starters here on Welcome to the Jungle. The Cincinnati Bengals are playing what feels like a late preseason game this week in Cleveland. Neither team really has much left to play for, but it's their job to still go out there and play the game, just like it's my job to sit here and make dumb videos about it. Before we get into that, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Really helps my channel out, and it helps you to be the first to know when we put out awesome videos like these previews that we do before every single Bengals game, recaps and reactions after the Bengals games, power rankings that we do at the end of each NFL week, and Battle of Ohio podcast clips that we post on the off days. So, like I said, this game is going to have a bit of a preseason feel, right? Just later in the year. That's mainly because the Bengals did things like placing Von Bell, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Jordan Evans, Trey Hendrickson, B.J. Hill, Trey Hopkins, Joe Mixon, Larry Ogunjobi, and Quentin Spain all on the COVID list this week. That, and you got guys like Joe Burrow, Jalen Davis, Cam Sample, DJ Reader, and C.J. Uzomah who just haven't been practicing this week. I'm not sure how many of those guys are going to play, although we do know that Joe Burrow has pretty much confirmed that he's not going to play this week. And that's primarily because he tweaked his right knee, not the surgically repaired one, near the end of the Chiefs game. He said that he's healthy enough to play if need be, so, it's nice to hear that, but at the same time, why would you risk it? Brandon Allen is a more than capable backup, and you already clinched the division. So, you'd like to have this win, but you don't need it, so why risk it? Now, on the Browns side of things, there's 14 players currently on the injury list, and Baker Mayfield is already confirmed to be having shoulder surgery ASAP, ending his season a week early. So, you're essentially going to be seeing a lot of backups that are going to be taking the field this week for both teams. For the Browns, they have already been eliminated from playoff contention, so this game literally don't matter a hill of beans to them. They can't even avoid a losing season because they've already lost 9 games, so there's literally nothing to fight for at this point. For the Bengals, though, this game does matter a little bit. Obviously not enough to take any real risks, but every seed from 1 to 4 is still in the cards for the Bengals. Now, if they lose, they're almost certainly guaranteed to be getting the number 4 seed, which is fine. You're still in the playoffs, you're still going to host a playoff game. It is what it is. Although the caveat to that being that you have a pretty good chance of not being able to host any more playoff games after that. Now, if they beat the Browns, they're most likely going to get the number 3 seed at that point. But with some help, they could still get the number 2 seed, and with a lot more help, they could still get the number 1 seed. If the odds of getting that were high enough, then you would definitely want to fight for that if you're the Bengals, but unfortunately, those odds aren't pretty high. Actually, according to 538's playoff odds simulator, getting the number 1 seed essentially requires the Bengals to win, then the Chiefs losing to the Broncos, and the Titans losing to the Texans. And then if all that happens, you still need the Bills to beat the Jets, but that's probably going to happen anyway. Neither of these outcomes are completely out of the realm of possibility, the Broncos beating the Chiefs and the Texans beating the Titans, because the Titans have already lost to the Texans this year. So, that's obviously not insane that that could happen. And then the Broncos always play the Chiefs tough. So, either of those teams could pull off the upset for real. But I think the likelihood of both of those outcomes happening is probably pretty low. And as we know, Zach Taylor's an analytical guy, so he's probably kind of dismissing the possibility of, that being a thing. And if they do both happen by some miracle, then the Bengals beating the Browns would be imperative. But you obviously wouldn't know that until the end of the game. You're going to know what's going to happen in the Chiefs game, but you're not going to know what's going to happen in the Titans game. So at that point, it's like the likelihood of all of that happening is so low that the Bengals understandably aren't going to be willing to risk the health of key players, especially key players who might have some lingering injury issues. So I think we're going to have to just preview this game for what it is. It's a B-roll game between two teams that probably just want to get through this game quickly and avoid any major injuries. Now this is the 98th Battle of Ohio, but that sense of like high stakes, high emotion rivalry, it's not going to be there this week. There might be some element of the Browns wanting to send the Bengals off with an L as a reward for kicking them out of the playoffs, and there might be some Bengals fans, such as myself, that would like to see some revenge for that 41-16 beatdown that they gave us in our own stadium earlier this year. But the fact of the matter is that this is really just an exhibition game that you'd probably be forgiven if you forgot to watch. So because this game is a road game, don't forget I will be live streaming my play-by-play and reaction to it on Sunday. You might want to check that out. I'm not sure if he's going to be available, but Thomas from the Battle of Ohio podcast said he might join me on the live stream if he's got time. Regardless of whether that happens or not, come watch and we'll have a good time, and it might be better than listening to whatever B-tier announcer duo they put on TV. Actually, on that note, I think it might be Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma, so, I mean, your choice. So, to dive a little bit deeper into the opponent this week, we're bringing in another new correspondent to the show. His name's Eeyore, and he's one of the most passionate Browns fans that I've ever met in my life. He runs Eeyore's Cleveland Browns Sadcast, sponsored by Fumble VPN. Say what's up, Eeyore.
Hey Kyle, thanks for having me on. Go Browns.
Oof, doesn't sound like you're having a good time up there, man. You want to introduce yourself to our audience a little bit? Give them some insight on what it's like being a Cleveland Browns fan your whole life?
Life is pain. You grow up as a kid in Cleveland learning all these great stories about Otto Graham and Bernie Kosar and the 8 NFL championships that brought to Cleveland, and now it's all bad. Ever since the Browns came, since the merger, we've had more quarterbacks than there are teams in the NFL. Just in the last 30 years. It's just bad.
Well, aren't you a ball of sunshine today?
Do you know what it's like to see the Bengals draft one guy and you turn around your season and then we have to draft bum after bum after bum? There's always next year.
Oh, no, right. I totally get it, man. Joe Burrow is just the best, and he's awesome. So, if you haven't given it away already, could you give me a little bit of a rundown on how the Browns' 2021 season has gone in relation to those pretty high expectations that they had coming into the season?
We actually had hope for once in Cleveland. Do you know what that's like? To have hope? We did. Once. And then the Arizona game came and went. Baker broke his arm, his shoulder, and now everything's gone to crap. 20th losing season in the last 23 years. You thought we changed? Well, so did we. Go Browns.
Yeah, I never really thought the Browns changed. I thought Kevin Stefanski was a good hire, for sure, but it takes more than just a good coach to change an entire culture. One thing I did think that had changed for sure, though, was the stability of the quarterback position. Man, Baker Mayfield was riding so high there for a minute. I thought, sure, he was going to be the quarterback of the future there in Cleveland. What happened?
Well, it was really fun when we beat you guys and he was throwing dimes to receivers, but ever since then he's thrown for just about as many interceptions as touchdowns, and we gave him a prove-it contract at the beginning of the year and he tried to prove it and got hurt, and now he's gonna have surgery and it ruined our season. We should have won all of our games, but we didn't. Well, there's always next year.
I don't know about that, particularly the game that y'all played against the Steelers on Monday night. I mean, 26-14 against the Steelers team that looked mostly inept on offense all night? Like, seriously, what the hell was that?
Well, ever since we watched you guys beat the Chiefs and clinched a playoff spot, it knocked us out, and so the Browns mentally checked out, and I checked out, and the city checked out. We're all just gonna check out of this hotel we call life now. Nothing's left. It's just the factory of sadness that we live in will continue to produce products of sadness and of misery. Like always.
Well, you never know, Eeyore. This upcoming game between the Bengals and the Browns might not mean anything to the final standings for the Browns, but it's still a rivalry game, and it's still a chance to take out some frustration on a rival. So, what do you think that the Bengals need to do to try to overcome whatever it is that the Browns are going to have planned for them and come away with a win this week?
Well, the Browns are down starters because they're all injured, and the Bengals are down a bunch of starters because they're resting them because the Bengals actually have a future. So all you guys need to do to win is get off the plane and play, and then you'd have won. Everyone's injured. Even Denzel Ward is injured, and he had that pick six against you guys last time. And that was cool. But it's not gonna happen. We're probably gonna lose, and it's fine.
Well, on that note, do you want to give me a final score prediction for this game?
Well, since both teams resting all their starters, whether they want to or not, it's probably gonna be some low-scoring game, like 6-3, and nobody's gonna watch it because it's the Browns. The score doesn't matter. Nothing matters. The Browns don't matter. Football doesn't matter. Life doesn't matter. The inevitable heat death of the universe will consume us all someday, and we're just gonna check out of life. The universe will go on, meaningless as it is.
Hey, man, you know it's just football, right? Speaking of which, are you planning on coming out for the game for the last time for the 2021 season?
I guess I could go to the game, since I have nothing else to do that day. Since it is Cleveland, there's nothing to do. I guess I could go and watch and have one last chili dog and nachos before the universe collapses in on itself. Did you know that the universe will die trillions upon trillions of years from now? And even then, the Browns will have never won a Super Bowl by then. Nothing matters. At least we have the Cavs. Maybe I'll go to a Cavs game this year. I don't know. At least we have the Cavs.
Alright, man. Well, best of luck this week, and I appreciate you coming on and being part of the team, and we'll all look forward to checking in with you for the 99th Battle of Ohio.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kyle. I had a blast on your show. Maybe next year we'll have a blast with the Browns. We'll draft another bum, and will make us hopeful for the season ahead, but you know how the Browns are. We're just gonna get flushed down, because we live in the anus of the NFL. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Alright, see you, man.
You are a factory of sadness!
So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Let me know what you think about this game in the comments below. in particular how you think that this game is going to go and what the score is going to be, or just anything else that you might have in mind. As always, I'll feature the best comments in my next preview video, like this one from Kevin Conquest, who said, Hill played against the Steelers. The Chiefs' secondary isn't weak unless Sorensen is in, which, fair enough. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, 31-24 Chiefs. How'd that work out, Kevin? I mean, to be fair, you did get the Chiefs score right. Kudos to you on that. But you were off on the Bengals score by about 10 points. And, I don't know, to me it sure looked like their secondary was having issues out there. Also, I don't remember exactly what I said about Tyreek Hill last week, but if I implied that he did play against the Steelers, that's obviously not correct, so I apologize for that. But thank you for watching and commenting, Kevin. Always makes this whole experience a lot more fun when you do. And thank you for watching, everybody. You can always find more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps. My Bengals coverage is available at ATBNetwork.com/Cincinnati Bengals. The Battle of Ohio podcast, which you can find on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And as always, I'll leave y'all with a hootie!